Hey y'all, this is Jasmine with JD Wax and welcome to another episode of Wrapping with Jasmine. Today we are going to learn how to make a dragon eye bracelet. Alright, so stay tuned. Okay, so for this project we're going to need heavy duty super glue, a cuff bracelet. I normally get the ones from On Accord because I can't ever find any with the actual holes in them. So it's just a regular cuff bracelet from On Accord. And then I have these gears that I got in a pack, and the pack is Ideology from Jim Holtz. And I also got these at Hobby Lobby. And here's a whole bag of more gears that I'm going to be using for later. These are, of course, I put these on my other bracelet on either side. This was actually part of a regular antique bracelet. There was like 5 of these pieces. There was 5 of these pieces, and I cut up the bracelet because they were just attached. I don't know if you can see, if my camera will focus, but like there's holes in the sides of these. They were just attached by like a little cord on the back. So I cut that up and I started putting them on my bracelets. Now, I got this bracelet at Pahaska's, and Pahaska's is an antique store, and Pahaska's is also out of business. So I don't think you'll be able to find another one like this, to be completely honest. But I like those pieces anyways. And I'm definitely going to use them with my next bracelet because I wanted to have another bracelet that matched this bracelet. Because I wanted to have one on each side. And then I have some 20 gauge silver wire. I think this is just non-tarnishable because it's not going to be coming into contact with my skin at all. And then I have seed beads that I used on this bracelet. I don't know if you can see, but like up here at the top I use seed beads, and these are the same seed beads, just purple and blue, and I have some black in there. I don't know why. It's probably just where I decided to put stuff. And these little blue nubby things, these are like needle grippers that are for sewing, and I found that these are really, really good at protecting your fingers while you're wire wrapping. So that's why I like to use them. But they do slip around a lot, and I still haven't figured out how to make them not slip. And if you have any tips or tricks, please leave a comment down in the comment section. And then I have my dragon eye, and I made it as close to this dragon eye as I possibly could. I think this one has a little more blue and red in it than this one does, but hey, it's whatever. It's just supposed to be similar. It's not supposed to be exact. I didn't want to just replicate these bracelets. I just wanted to make them my own. So with that, we can get started. So, opening this up, I have a little trash barrel underneath my desk. But see, there is no holes in this. It's just a silver bangle bracelet. And it does adjust, so my wrists are just a little bit bigger than what the bracelet is, so I just put it on my wrist and I pull it just a little bit. Not enough to like break the bracelet, but enough to like just get my arm in and out of it. And you want to do this before you get all your stuff on. Get the bracelet adjusted to your arm before you get all your stuff on it, because once you get all your stuff on it, then it's going to pretty much be like that until, you know, it breaks. Alright, I'm back. And I have my Sharpie. So, what needs to happen is, if my camera will focus, I'm going to have these 2 holes right here so that I can put wire through. And they are going to be covered on this side, so you're not going to be able to see them. The holes right here and right here. So it'll be just above the gold part, but it'll have enough space to actually put that gold part on there. And I'm also going to need these up here, which I will have to put the rings in right after I drill these holes to keep that spot open for those. Otherwise it will get covered up. I'm just going to line it up as best I can. And you should always make sure that these parts are going to fit where you're going to place them, because that would not be good. So it looks like this one's going to fit, but this one I need to make the dot a little farther up a little bit. There we go. And I'm not worried about the Sharpie, because after all the wear and tear, and if you take like if you take like fingernail polish remover or something like that, or sometimes alcohol, I think, and just rub it over it, it'll take care of it. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it came right off. There's only one dot there. I just rubbed it with my finger. Alright, now here is the fun part. I am going to drill these holes into this bracelet. So I'm using a 9/64 and a 5/32. So 9/64, 5/32 drill bits for these holes. And I am doing it on this box so that I'm not drilling through my table. And I decided to go with a 3/16 instead of a 5/32. Any sharp like edges that you might have, it's gonna all get covered up by wire anyways, so I really wouldn't worry too much about it. But I do want to pick off all these little tags left behind by the drill. Okay, I think that's as good as I'm going to get. These are my chainmail rings. These are, I think they're 14 gauge 3/8 if I'm not mistaken. But these are my chainmail pliers. Now how you do this is you take a chainmail ring put it in one of your pliers, okay? Take your other pair of pliers, bend it towards open, and then you put it through the hole. Grab it with your pliers and close it. See, there we go. Now you're just going to do that the other 3 times. Put it in the other 3 holes. Okay, so it's the next day. I have let this sit overnight. So let's just take off all the clamps and see how it's set. That is exactly how I wanted it to be. It looks really good, you guys. And it's okay that these sides are not laying flush with the bracelet, because I'm going to be covering up the whole thing. Like, I'm going to be covering all this stuff up with wire. Okay, so now that the bracelet has all the basic components to it, now it's time to start the wire. Okay, so now we're going to take the silver non-tarnishable wire, 20 gauge, and we're going to basically do arm spans. And I'm pretty sure I did 1 arm span per wire, so if not, I can always add in more wire. It's not a big deal. Just snip it off. So there's 1. And I'm pretty sure I did 5. Now we gotta find the center. And the center is what we're gonna start working our weaving on. Alright, so all these are pretty flush. And now I'm just going to straighten out the wires as best I can. They are all tangled now. So this is what I'm going to start my weaving on. I'm just going to put a little bend in it so I know that where the bend is where all the wires need to be in the middle. So now I need to get my red 24 gauge wire. Alright, so on my bracelet I did like this pyramid style weave. So that's what the weave I'm going to be doing now. So there's 7 rotations and then 2, 2, 2, 2. And we're doing 7 rotations to start off with. And what I do, I don't know if you can see, but like I take the tail of it and I wrap the tail first, and then I take my pliers, whichever ones I have on hand. Right here I have the round tip pliers, round nose pliers, and I'm just going to smush it down to where it lays flush with everything else. So there's the 7 rotations. I'm going to go ahead and flatten that back out because now that I know that this is my starting wire. this is going to be 2, so the next one is 2 rotations. I'm going to flatten it out. I'm just going to press down really hard and just make sure all the wires are flush and push it together. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, I have this little black hairband thing, and after I get this all wrapped, because that would make all 5 of these done. Alright, so with this hairband, I'm going to take half of the wires, the half that I'm not going to really use right now. I'm going to go all the way out to the end. And I'm going to wrap. Now I don't worry about getting the kinks out of the wire, because this type of wire is extremely moldable, bendable, and it's easy to get the kinks out. So I'm going to wrap it till right about there, and then push it down a little bit, not to where it's going to break anything. I'm going to take my hairband and I'm going to just wrap it twice. And that'll keep all that wire from getting in my way. So then all I have to worry about is this random wire over here. And then on this side, I am going to do the exact same thing except each individual wire. Okay. Now we can continue wrapping. Now that all of our wires are in their nice little bundles, they're not all over the place, I went 7 rotations and then 2, 2, 2, 2 all the way up, and I'm going 2, 2, 2 back down to make this kind of pyramid shape. And then when you get down to the last 2 wires, you do 2 rotations, and then you'll go around the last wire 7 times. And you will just continue that same wrap until you've completed the length that you've wanted. So there's 9 triangles there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bracelet, and this is the bottom portion of the eye. So it's going to curve around the eye just like this, and then it's going to come up and go into the holes. I'm going to take these bottom 2 wires, so the one that I've been wrapping 7 around, I'm going to take these bottom 2 wires, and you just put the bottom 2 wires in this hole. Alright, and these ones are going to come down, and then I'm going to make them come back up. Because this, I'm going to make it go down. So this needs to come back up so that it can continue going around like that. And while I have all this stuff unraveled, well, now that I have it all the way I want it for now, I'm going to simply just wind it back up and clip it again. Put it back in the little rubber band. Alright, so there's that side for now. And then it looks like I only undid this one. So I'm just going to straighten this out and see if you just run your finger over it a couple times. It just straightens out the wire. I don't care that it's kinked. That doesn't really bother me, at least not right now, because I'm just going to wrap it back up again. And then I am just going to put it in this hole and make this one come up. And then I'm going to turn this one down so that it can meet the rest of the wires, and I can turn it so that it can still follow the way that I'm trying to wrap. And I'm just going to wrap this back up. It'll get more secured the more that I wire wrap this whole bracelet together. So I'm not really worried about this right now. I'm just trying to get it on there, basically. Alright, and then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my red wire and continue to, I'm going to take this red wire and wrap it in between here and continue this triangle wrap all the way going up and around here to create the whole eye that I did on this side. Alright, so I did another 10 rotations on here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and straighten this out as much as possible. Sometimes you gotta bend it the other way to get it to straighten out. And I'm going to curve it so that it'll lay flush against the eye. So it should be something like that. So these top two wires, and they're going to go back through this hole. So you got to unravel it. And it really is a pain to unravel these things and ravel them back up. But in my opinion, it helps, especially when you're doing things with long wires like this. I think it helps tremendously. Now, just because I do it doesn't mean you have to do it my way. But I just found that it's easier to do it like that. Alright. And these wires are going to come around down towards the bottom like I did the previous wires. And then they're going to come back up like that. And I think I'm actually done with the red wire for now. So I'm just going to clip this off. There we go. Frees up a little bit of space. And you're just going to take your flat nose pliers and just wrap this around so it lays flush against the bigger wire. That way it's not snagging on stuff. So I think it needs to come over this way a little bit, so I'm just going to push it down. There we go. Push it down and it'll lay how I like it to. And you can adjust it however you like. That's just what I like. So I have what's left of my blue wire. And I'm just going to start wrapping. And it looks like I did use the 3 wires, so I went 4 around the base, 1, 1, and then 1, and then 4. So this one is going to be my base wire. And I'm just going to wrap this little tail around the base wire. Clamp it down with my flats. So now the blue is flush. Then I'm going to take my second wire. I'm just going to wrap it around once. It looks like this. And I'm just going to wrap it around the third one once. So now we got this right here. Come back around. And I'm going to do 1 rotation. And then I'm going to do 4 more rotations around just the bottom wire. Close to that. So it's 4 rotations, 1 rotation, and then 1 rotation, and then another 1, and then 4. That's what it should look like. So it's all nice and clean. I push the end of that down so it lays flush with the silver wire. So now, alright, so I'm just going to bend it around. And I'm going to kind of tuck it a little bit behind the red wire, but not so much that you won't be able to see it. And I'm just going to take this middle wire and go underneath the red wires and push it all the way down, and then pull it through. Alright. Then I should be able to just bring it up and around and put it right back in the middle where it needs to be so I can wire wrap some more stuff. See what I did there? I just pulled it tight this way, pulled it tight up here so that it makes almost kind of like a 90-degree angle, and then put it in place where I would be able to wire wrap from the end of this blue wire. See the end of this blue wire right here? So I'll start right there with another color, and I'll keep these wires straight as is. So I put the middle wire back in the middle after I went through the hole. So it should be back in the middle. I'm going to do 5 and 2. So 5 wraps around the bottom wire and then 2 wraps around the top wire. And I'm going to use that to get the other 2 wires to the other side where I need it to be. So here's my bottom wire. And I'm going to do 5 wraps around the bottom. And then I'm going to take the other wire and I'm going to wrap twice around it. Okay, so it's going to look something like this, y'all. So 5 and 2. And then I just tucked it back through the hole. So this is what it looks like so far. Alright. So now I'm going to continue with the black. And I'm just going to wrap 2 and 2. So these 2 that I haven't done anything with yet, I'm going to use these 2 wires and I'm just going to make it come around and we're going to put it through this hole over here. So it'd be 2 and 2 over 3 wires. So this would be the next wire. So what I like to do is I'll start with the middle wire first and wrap it until there's no tail. So I try to make the tail as short as I can so I'm not wasting wire. So it started out as 1 around the middle, but then I put 2 around the middle and the bottom wires. So now I'm going to do 2 around the middle and the top wires. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring this around. And go underneath. That way it doesn't look weird. I'm going to pull it tight. Push it as tight as I can up against it. Come down and around and then go through the middle again. Make sure it's tight. Push, come down and around. So now I have 2 around the top of the middle and 2 around the bottom of the middle. And I'm just going to continue with this. It's the 2x2. And I wanted to show you guys the ends because see how crappy that end looks? Now what you need to do on the ends, and these things, I put these on my fingers to help protect them. I think they're like called needle pulling thimbles. But they're made out of like rubber and they just help grip the wire and help keep your fingers from getting too messed up. But I wanted to show you this while I had it out. So you're going to push it all together and then you're just going to wrap the middle wire. And you can do like 4, maybe 5 rotations. But this is how I end all of my weaves. Is I wrap it around one wire, the main wire that I used. So like if it's a middle wire, I'll wrap it around the middle wire 4 or 5 times. And if it's the bottom wire or the top wire, this is just how I end everything before I put it through the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 rotations. Take these off my fingers real quick. So 4 rotations, and then I'm going to snip it. And yes, I know I need some new pliers. And now with that gone, normally I would take my flats to even this out, but since my daughter's using my flats right now, I'm just going to use these round nose pliers. They work just as good. Alright. And you're just going to flatten that out. And there's how you end a weave. Started from the bottom, and I wound it all the way that I needed it to. So this middle wire is the one that I'm going to take and push through to the other side. So then it'll lay flush with the top of the eyelid. Alright, and then I can adjust it however I need to. So right now, see up here I still have 2 other layers, one with gold and blue beads, and then another one of just a random gold one. So I gotta get those 2 in. The gold with the beads is going in between here and the blue one. And then the gold one is basically gonna wind through all of them. All three of the eyelid parts. So the blue one, the gold with the blue beads, and the black one. And it'll just weave through there to basically secure everything down enough to where it's not going to be like this all wobbly and whatever. So right now this is good for now. So I'm just going to pull this up and basically just push it down to where it'll hold, because then it just won't go anywhere on me. Now this one's still really long, so I'm going to go ahead and wind this up. The other 2 are getting shorter, so I'm not too worried about these tangling as much in everything else. It looks like I did 4 rotations, 1, 1, 1, 3 rotations. Okay. So, starting all the way up here. Let me see if I can focus this one. So starting all the way up here, I'm going to section these off into bottom, first, second, and top wire. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to wrap these 3 until I get to about right here, where I can section off this wire, this wire right here, and continue with the bottom lid. I think that's a good solid plan. So this wire is going to join these 3 wires when I get down closer to the corner of the lid, where the black part ends. Really blurry. Alright, there we go. So 4, 1, 1, 1, 3. Now I'm going to continue that pattern until I get to the corner of my eye. Alright, so I did 4 to begin with, and then 1, 1, 1. That's 1 on each of the silver strands. Then I did 3, 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, all the way till I got down to here. Now I needed to add in this wire that is attached to the black, and I kind of messed it up a little bit. I was supposed to start on this one, but I just didn't get to it in time because I was too busy watching Big Hero 6. And then, so I just decided to leave a space in there. No one's gonna really notice it. And then I did 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3. Now I'm going to continue the 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3 for the rest of the time, and I'm going to just make it go around. I'm just going to continue this and make it go on the bottom underneath to finish off this eyelid, the bottom eyelid. And then I'm going to just tuck it into the corner, this corner of the eye. I tucked it kind of underneath this plate right here, and I am going to make it lay parallel with the black one. And then I'm going to take this one, since it's the last one that I wrapped on, the very last one right here. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it underneath all of these wires and into the hole. I'm just going to tuck that behind there out of the way. So now it's laying parallel just how I wanted it to. And then these ones, I'm just going to tuck them underneath this black wire because I just want them out of the way. See this black wire right here? I'm just going to tuck them under there, just so that they're out of my way so I can start something new. I'm going to have to do the beaded one next. So it's 20 rotations to start with, 1 blue bead, 10 rotations, 1 bead, 10 rotations, 1 bead, and keep following that pattern. And then you'll just go all the way back around to the other side. And it does get tucked in behind all this stuff. So the ones over here probably aren't going to get seen, but I like to do it anyways because just like how I did, if you turn it a different way, you can definitely see it. So that's why I like to do that. I think it looks pretty wicked, y'all. And I'm going to do this part right here. This part right here where I just took 3 wires and just did all this swirly stuff down here at the bottom. That's what I'm going to do now to get some of these wires out of the way. So it's going to come out like this first. And I'm going to make a really, really tight loop right in there. I made a really tight loop, and it's going to get tucked behind the red part of the eye, just to kind of help stabilize it. And then it's going to come down and loop down here to fill in this corner. And then it's going to come down, and then it's going, see how that is? Then I'm going to make it come down, and going to loop just around this gold part on the bottom. And you gotta make sure all the wires stay together, because if they don't, then it's gonna mess everything up. Alright. So now that it's wrapped around that, it's going to, oh no, my wires are getting tangled again. I'm trying to make them stay straight how I need them to. This one, man. This is the one that needs to, there we go. Alright, and then from here it looks like I'm going to, let's see, this is what it looks like so far. Swirled, whoop, down, under, over, and came out top of that. So now it looks like it swung all the way up to the red part. So I'm going to take these three and it went up to the red part and came back down to the gold part. So now I'm trying to fish it through, because this cuff also has a lip on it, so I have to be careful not to get the lip on the cuff either, otherwise it's just not going to come through. Oh, come on. There we go. There's two of them, and I'm just going to scoot it down. There we go, about to where I need it. Push them through. And then this last one, I'm going to be able to push this one through now. And this one is shorter than the other two, so I'm really hoping that won't cause a problem later on. Alright, so it's going to swoop up. I'm just going to pull them down. Redo my wires so they lay how I need them to lay. I'm just rearranging them because otherwise it looks like a mess. Alright, so now this is what it looks like. So it swirled down, looped, went up, under, and then up and over, and came back down through. Alright. Now from here it looks like it comes down. So it looks like these came up, and they went around the bottom two, so the black one and the gold one. And we should just be able to make it lay flat down just how I need it. And then from here I'm gonna go, it looks like up. So this is what it looks like so far. So up. And then it's just gonna go over the gold one. I'm gonna make a little loop like this. And then I'm gonna bring it back over here and make like an infinity symbol. My wires are getting tangled again, so I'm going to undo that. Okay, so, and you need the wires to lay flat and keep them in order because you want it to look like it's flowing, like it's almost like a river kind of flowing. So this one's the outside, this one's the middle, that one's the center. Alright. Alright, so then we're going to make another little tight loop to make it look like an infinity symbol. And then we're going to come up. So it looks like this so far. That's what it looks like. Now we're going to go up again into the red, and you got to make sure they're tight so it doesn't come apart. That's what it looks like so far. And then it looks like I wrapped it once around all three of them and basically tied it off. So, I'm gonna take these, do this one more time. I'm gonna push it down underneath. Alright, so here is what it looks like finished. I got all those wires untangled. And I know on my other bracelet I only wrapped it around once. Here I had a whole bunch of leftover wires, so I wrapped it around twice before coming back through it, making the loop, and then tying it off in here. And then I just pulled them down through here so that I had the two wires I needed to start making the blue around this gold piece. The blue around this gold piece, like I have on here. So yeah, and then on the other side, I have 3. So I am prepping it now to have 2 on one side, 3 on the other. And yes, there is just this little tail right here. This is the end of it. That I am going to wrap somehow and put it where it needs to go. So, these are going to be the 2 wires that I'm going to wrap to go around this part. And it looks like for that I did 7 rotations and then 2 rotations. Alright. Actually, I'm going to do some more rotations because this wire needs to come down. Needs to come down to meet this other wire. If you can see that. They need to come down to meet each other. So I'm going to keep wrapping like this until they meet. Yeah, about 10 rotations to get down to this other wire that I needed. Alright, so I'm going to try and position that like as close to that wire as I possibly can, like to where it starts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and turn it at a 90-degree angle so that it is laying flush with the wire that I need. Alright? And then from here, I'm going to go under with this blue wire, and I'm going to make 2 rotations for under both wires. So it should look something like this. See if I can get any closer. And then I'm going to go 7 rotations around the bottom. So it should look something like that. Now I will tighten all of this up as I'm going. So what I did is I just did the 7 and 2 all the way around. And then I just bent it up and I tucked it underneath this big part right here. Tucked it underneath and had it come out the top. So these are the wires that are left over from that. I'm going to go ahead and start on the other side, which I already did. And the weave is here. I did 4, 2, 2, 2, 4. So there's 3 silver wires. And on the bottom one, I wrapped 4 times, and then I wrapped 2 around the second wire, 2 around the top wire, 2 around the second wire, and then 4 on the bottom again. And I'm just repeating that pattern. See if I can get any closer. There we go. So I'm just repeating that pattern over and over and over again until I am going to frame this side now. Alright, so I'm back with the finished portion of this side. There we go. And I did make this side go all the way around. So now what I'm going to do is I have these 3 wires right here. And I'm going to make them go behind the black one, so that I can pull it straight down. And like with the other side, I'm just going to leave it open like that. I know it's not very secure down, but I'm going to glue it, and that's when it'll stick, is after I glue it down. So here's this piece so far. All this detail is incredible. And we are almost done with this, y'all. Right here, I'm going to try and do this, this little black piece right here, where it's kind of like looped around and then it kind of like spirals up onto the blue part right there, up the black piece. That's what I'm going to try and do for this right here, for this corner. with these two wires, since they're kind of the shortest wires that I have so far. So I'm going to take my black wire, and looks like I'm going to be doing 2x4 again. So I'm going to wrap 4 around the bottom one, and then I'm going to wrap 2 around both of them, and then I'll wrap 4 around the bottom one again. So I'm going to have the longer wire that I have, I'm going to let that be my bottom wire, and this short wire I'll have be the top wire. That way I'll know when to actually stop. And if I really wanted to, I can keep coiling on this wire to use up any more space that I might need. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And so now I'm going to use my pliers, and I'm just going to bend it over the open spots where I need it. So it looks like it came down and around and back up. I'm thinking that I might just hook this piece through the loop, maybe. There we go. So now it should stay put, at least for a little while. And then it looks like I wrapped some of this, and I'm going to curl it up. I'm going to curl it up along this black piece. And then I'll just snip off whatever I don't use, because this would be the end of this corner part. So I'm going to wrap it a few more times. Oh, it's like looped right there. I'm just going to try and tuck that kind of behind it. There we go. So you can't see it or nothing. So that's 2 wires completely out of my way. There we go. So now we have just these 2 wires to make that this one part right here. This part right here. That's what I'm making next. So it's 3 rotations, 2 rotations. Alright, so I have this piece woven, and I twisted it under, and then I came out on top. See, I twisted it under and then came out on top. And now I'm getting ready to twist it again, and I'm wanting these wires to go underneath what I just did, because we got to tuck them away and snip them off. So there we are. I just twisted them under, and it looks like this bottom one, this one, is the one that's going to be anchoring it down onto the bracelet. So I need it to lay just like this. Now I just gotta anchor it down onto there. I'm actually just gonna loop this one through to try to anchor it better, even though I didn't on my other bracelet. And then I have these two wires right here that I just did. So I'm going to take my snips and I'm just going to snip them off, put them in my wire collection that I've been building for like ever. And then these two little nubs, I'm just going to turn them over onto themselves so that they're not going to be poking. So I'm making a loop just like that. And then I'm just going to tuck it underneath so that we don't see it anymore. So here is what it looks like so far. Fantastic. It just looks so good. I'm so happy with how this is turning out again. Okay, so I had one wire coming out of the bottom of this, and I just decided to wrap it. Here, I don't know if you can see this. See under here? I wrapped it in gold, and then what I did was I brought it down and curled it like I did right here with the silver on top to try and give it the same flow. And because I kept looking at the space underneath and I couldn't stand looking at it. So I just used that wire to like kind of fill in. And then what I did was I took my pliers and pushed it down over under this lip to try and keep it, there we go, to try and keep it secure, because this cuff has a lip on it, as you can see. So I just coiled it, and it was just one piece of wire. So I just coiled it, and then on here, I didn't like this space up here in this corner. I didn't see this little small space right here. I didn't like that, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to do the 3-2-3-2 like I am on this side, and I'm just going to go out like maybe just like an inch, and then I'm going to just curve it how I did like this. Just curve it and twirl it around and whatever. And then I'll anchor it probably to this blue piece. Alright. So I've got like an inch on there now. Maybe about an inch and a half. So I'm just going to snip off this gold wire and make this flush against the silver wire. So now I got this piece, and what I'm going to do, because I want to fill in this silver part right here that's still showing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start turning it. So I made a second loop. And now I'm basically just going to tuck it under the black part to try and cover up that little space of silver from the cuff bracelet that was coming through. And then I am just going to undo these because I no longer need them anymore. And then I'm just going to anchor it down. I guess I'm going to turn it one more time so that this is what it looks like so far. I'm tucking it underneath there. And I'm going to turn it one more time. Make another really tight loop like that. And I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. And put these with my other wire pieces. And I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to push it underneath the black and underneath of, I want to attach it to this strand right here and wrap it around this gold part. To tie it down. And then tighten these loops and move this into that space that I wanted it to cover in the first place. So now it looks something like this. That can get tucked away. So now that space is covered. And I have 2 less wires to have to battle with now. So now I just have the 2 left that I need to finish this off. And now I am just going to continue the 3 and 2 pattern on these wires. Alright, so I got this gold part all done. Here's what it looks like. So if you look at this one, I had, it looks like one of the big gears, a medium-sized gear, and a tiny silver gear. So here's the gears that I decided to use for this project. I got these at Hobby Lobby. They're in a strand just like this. Alright, so with this I'm going to use my black wire. So now I'm going to put these in here how I need them. So this one is just going to go down here near the bottom. And I'm just positioning them how I think I need to in order to get the entire space covered. Okay, and this one I'm going to position near the top. And then this silver one I'm just going to put right here in the corner to cover up that space. So it'll look something like that. Now you just have to wire it. So I'm going to go ahead and there we go. So first I'm going to take this and my black wire and I'm going to wrap it a couple times with the end. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off this piece. down here so that it'll be easier to handle. So I'm not dragging that whole spool around with me wherever I go. And then what I'm going to do is, I want this one to go down towards the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and loop my black wire through the bottom and pull this through. Oh man. Here maybe. There we go. Oh, nope. Alright. So then I'm going to take this wire, now that I got it positioned how I need to. Just like that. That's how I want it. So then I'm going to just attach this somehow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the back and I'm going to loop it around these silver pieces that are all joined together at the bottom. And I'm just going to kind of tie it off like that. And then, I don't know. That actually secured it pretty well, not gonna lie. But I want it a little more secure than that. So I'm gonna wrap it one more time around these three. And then I'm going to push it back through underneath all of them, those wires that I have. Back through there, and I'm going to pull it back through. So now you got it like this. Nice little tiny gear in there. There's my husband. So next is this one, and we're going to position this up a little bit higher. Kind of like that. I want it to kind of overlap the bottom one a little bit, but not too much to where you're gonna like not see it at all. Okay, so get another piece of black wire. Get all the kinks out of it. There we are. And start wrapping this. And I'm just going to wrap it a few times. Make it go around. Alright, and I think I'm going to start by fishing this wire through here to begin with, since I want it to be positioned towards the top anyways, to try and secure that gear a little bit more, a little bit better than what I had, because I really don't like that. And then I'm going to turn it and tuck it up underneath a little bit. Just pull that through. Alright, so now it's kind of like overlapped a little bit. This is the gear I'm working on up top. And so I'm just going to wrap it around this black, because it's a black wire. It's not going to be seen unless you're absolutely looking for it. So I'm going to wrap it around this black piece. So pull it through, make it tight. Push it back down. Alright. And then I think using the same wire, I'm going to go ahead and go back down and use it to attach that silver gear. And I'm just going to tie this off now that it's secure. Alright, so now I have some Gorilla Glue. So I'm going to put a little dab on this gear. So that hopefully it'll stay stuck to where I need it. So there's that one. And it don't look like it's going to go anywhere for now. So I can just let that dry. And then I'm going to peel this back a little bit. Not too much because you don't want it to break. And I'm just going to smooth the glue down into that gap all the way around. And then you're going to put this back the way you need it to. And you're going to use a clamp to clamp it down right where you need it so that it'll stay and glue shut. Okay. Alright, and then we'll do the same on the other side. This one won't be as hard because it's not as thick. Alright, so now I'm just going to let this sit overnight. So here's a close-up of that. So I'm basically just putting this wire part into the groove of both of the antique bracelet parts. Alright, so it is like 3 in the morning. I just could not wait to get this thing looked at. So this gear set perfectly. You can't even see any glue or anything on it. Let's see if I can get a close-up of that. Oh, come on. So you can't even see any glue or anything on that gear. It looks fantastic. And then we're going to go ahead and take off these clamps. See how that's set. Oh no, there's glue on this. No. Okay, so there is glue on that side. I'm just going to go ahead and take off the other clamps and see what I'm working with. So here's this side. Oh, it's not too bad. Actually, that's not even, I'm still going to pick it off, I think. That one was fine. So this side is not as bad as the other side. There's just a little bit of glue, like right in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix that right quick. Hopefully I won't undo everything that I just got done doing. So I'm just going to take my snippy pliers and I'm just going to pick it off with my fingernail. That way I don't scratch anything. At least not permanently scratch anything. And when I get enough of it off, I'm just going to pull up. I'm going to use my snippy pliers, to just cut it off. See, that's looking better already. There we go. Looks good, looks fantastic. So we're going to roll it. Look at all that fine detail. Here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There we go. Now we can get the whole bracelet in there all at once. Oh my goodness. Oh yes. Oh, that looks so good. Oh yes. And then here's the back. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like a layer of resin on the back, because what I noticed with my other bracelet is that this will start to rust a little bit, and sometimes if you get it wet, it'll turn your skin green. So I'm going to put a layer of resin on it before I even start wearing it, so that it won't rust and it won't do that, and it won't turn your skin green or anything. So I think that's what I'm going to do with that. Because from what I'm reading online, the resin chemicals won't react with the metal, it'll just encase it. So that's what I'm hoping for. Now, I've only used resin in one project so far. I'm not experienced at resin at all. So if you are, please drop me a message down in the comment section so that I know before I start doing anything. That would be really great. Alright, this has been Jasmine with JD Wax, and I hope to see you soon. Have a good day, y'all.